Hello everybody. So welcome back to my new lecture on this channel. As we all know that we are already discussing the analysis of fixed beam, which is a part of module 3, and today we are going to consider standard case number 6. So the sixth case is nothing but it is a fixed beam in which two supports A and B are not at the same level. They are having certain level difference, which has been also, this condition is also called as a sinking of one of the support. So moving ahead, we can see here further, I have tried to show the diagram, or for understanding this diagram, this is a shear force diagram. Here we know that due to the sinking, where there is no any load, but there will be a couple acting at joint A and joint B, which is trying to reinstate that bending. On left hand, it is trying to reinstate by providing a hogging bending moment or hogging couple, whereas at end B we are having a clockwise anti-clockwise couple which is trying to sag this. So let us understand the various parameters related to this. Let delta be the difference of level, or it is the magnitude of sinking of the support B with respect to A, and from this figure we can understand that joint A is at a higher level as compared to joint B. Now here, due to this condition, due to sinking of the support, what is going to happen is MA is going to occur, which is going to be in the anti-clockwise direction. Similarly at B there is an anti-clockwise direction couple MB, but the effect of these two couples are totally different. If you observe here, this MA is trying to lift this end in the upward direction, forming a hogging moment, whereas this is trying to pull this in the downward direction, forming a sagging at this particular joint B. So as we know that whenever there will be a hogging, it is to be treated as negative, and as far as the sagging is concerned, it is to be taken as positive. So here, whatever magnitude we shall be having for MA and MB, one thing is very much clear, it is going to be same, that is MA has to be equal to MB, and where V is the support reaction. Is it okay? So moving ahead, we know that we have already established certain relationship between the EI, the value of y and value of x. Y is in the vertical direction and x is in the horizontal direction. So we have come to the conclusion that EI d raised to 4 y by dx square is nothing but it is establishing a relationship for the rate of loading, whereas EI d cube y by dx cube is giving you the relationship for the shear force. We already know EI d2y by dx square gives you a law for the bending moment, and EI dy by dx is for the slope, and for the last one EIy shall be giving you the law of the deflection. Why they are called as law? Because at whatever value of that particular part, whether we are dealing with deflection or whether we are dealing with the rate of loading, simply by substituting a value of y and x, we will be having the understanding of what sort of a rate is happening for the loading or for the shear force or the bending moment. So let us consider once again the same beam which is sinking or which has different level of the supports. So I'll have one section, I'll consider a section at a distance of x, and we'll try to have the establishment of these various reactions. So we know that for the rate of loading, why we are considering here rate of loading, as nothing is mentioned on this beam as such of a loading. So first of all we should understand what should be the rate of loading. So here you can see rate of loading is taken equal to 0. Why it is to be taken as 0? Because no loading is acting on this particular part of a fixed beam. So EID raised to 4 y by dx square dx raised to 4 is equal to 0. Now integrating this, we will be having SF, of course. Integrating rate of loading will be giving you shear force. So shear force is equal to EI d cube y by dx cube is equal to C1. On the right hand side there is no any term as such, no value as such, so is equal to 0. Therefore its integration will give you the value of only C. Now we know that C1 is the constant of integration which is to be found out from the boundary condition. So what is the boundary condition? At x is equal to 0, at x is equal to 0, SF is equal to V. Is it okay? So this was a shear force diagram. Initially it was been drawn because to understand what will be the value of shear force at this particular point. Is it okay? So at x is equal to 0, shear force is equal to V. Therefore C1 is equal to V. After putting this value of this boundary condition into this equation, when x is equal to 0, this left hand side becomes equal to 0, and as far as right hand side is concerned, C1 is nothing but it is a V value. So at x is equal to 0, SF is equal to V. So putting that, you will be getting C1 is equal to V. So back substituting it in the equation number for the SF, we are getting SF is equal to EI d cube y by dx cube is equal to V. So call this as equation number 2. Now in order to understand what will be the bending moment, again we have equation number 2, which is the law for the shear force given by equation number 2. After integrating that, you will be establishing the relationship for this particular bending moment. So integrating this bending moment is equal to EI d2y by dx square is equal to Vx plus C2. Again, this value of constant of integration can be found out from the boundary condition. At x is equal to 0, Bm is equal to Ma. So here at x is equal to 0, already a couple is acting here whose magnitude is equal to Ma. So using that boundary condition and back substituting it in the bending moment equation, you will be having a new establishment of a equation, that is Ei d2y by dx square is equal to Vx minus C2, that is equal to Ma. So putting that value of C2 is equal to minus Ma, we are getting third equation, which is a ruling equation for the bending moment. So in order to get a deflection equation, we know what we have to do. We have to integrate it once again. So after integrating this equation number 3, so Ei dy by dx is equal to Vx square by 2 minus Max plus C3. Again doing the same. For finding out C3, you will be using a boundary condition at x is equal to 0. Again you can see the slope is equal to 0 in both the figures. You can observe that particular slope is equal to 0. So substituting that particular boundary condition and finding out a value of C3 is equal to 0. Again C3 is substituted in the basic equation and we are getting a new equation number 4, which is called as a law for the slope equation. So after getting this slope equation, what we have to do further? We have to find out the deflection, or rather we have to find out the slope. We know that at x is equal to L, again the dy by dx, that is slope, is equal to 0. So again substituted that value into the earlier equation. So this becomes 0 left hand side, V L square by 2 minus Ma L. So simply by using second boundary condition to find out the slope, so using those boundary condition into the equation of a slope at x is equal to L, dy by dx is equal to 0. Therefore we get left hand side as dy by dx is equal to 0. So right hand side we have V by 2, x is already equal to L, so back substituting that L in terms of x, so we have V L square by 2 minus Ma L. So here from this equation we are in a position to get a value of shear force V is equal to 2 Ma by L. So this is how we got a fifth equation, which gives you a direct value for this particular case as 2 Ma by L. Now integrating once again this equation number 4, because yet we are required to find out the deflection equation. For that we have to integrate equation number 4. So I am integrating equation number 4. Ei is equal to Vx cube by 6 minus Max square by 2 plus C4. So this is how we got this new equation after integrating equation number 4. Again to find out a value of C4, we have to use the boundary condition. So we can see here at x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0. As you can see, at x is equal to 0, there is no any deflection. So at x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, therefore C4 is equal to 0. And one more thing you can have here, that another boundary condition is at x is equal to L as compared to A, B is already sunk by delta value. So at x is equal to L, y is equal to minus delta, and minus is taken because it is acting in the downward direction. So here, using this boundary condition into the above equation, you are getting a new equation, minus ei delta v L cube by 6 minus ma L square by 2. So calling this a new equation for deflection, that is equation number 6. Now we know already, we have established this deflection equation by equation number 6, ei delta v L cube by 6 minus ma L square by 2, and already we know the value of v, which we have found out already in equation number 5. So putting that value of v here, you will be getting ei delta is equal to 2ma by 6l L cube minus ma L square by 2. So here you can see, after doing the simplification, I am getting a new equation, ei delta is equal to ma by 6 L square. So this is the deflection happening at that particular case. Is it okay? So by simplifying again this equation, we are getting ma is equal to 6 ei delta by L square. So I have simply rearranged the term in this equation, and I got a new equation, that is ma is equal to 6 ei delta by L square. This is nothing but this is the friction moment at joint A. So calling this as equation number A. Now we already have found out the bending moment equation, d2y by dx square is equal to vx minus ma, by equation number 3. Now we already know what is this. It is a relationship between the bending moment and ei d2y by dx square, which is already equal to vx minus ma. Now what we have to do, simply we have to put the value of v and ma, which are been already found out in equation number 5 and equation number a. So by putting these two values in this equation, we are getting m is equal to 2ma by L x minus 6ei delta by L square. Now we know that for finding out the bending moment at B, that is at the extreme end, we have to put x is equal to L. Now after putting this x is equal to L in this above equation, we are getting ei d2y by dx is equal to vx minus ma. Again we are sticking up with this particular basic equation. So here vx minus ma. So by putting the value of v and ma, which we have already found out in equation number 5 and equation number a, by substituting those values, you will be getting mb is equal to 6 ei delta by L square. All if you are getting. And one more thing I have to make you understand, here I have not taken it as negative, because already I have considered or assumed it as negative, because on the left hand side of A joint, their friction moment was how? It was hogging, and in the earlier equation we have already said that minus ei delta is equal to v L cube by 6 minus ma L square by 2. So I have taken it for granted, and I have directly written this as ma, whereas this ma has to be, ma is equal to minus 6 ei delta by L square, but as I have assumed it as hogging, so I have directly taken it as a positive, or rather I should say I have not shown the sign for this particular ma. Now after going through this, ultimately we have got another friction moment at point B, that is again the same, mb is equal to 6 ei delta by L square. If you remember, in the early stage I have told you the value of ma and mb has to be same, but only with the difference that ma is hogging and mb is sagging. So this has to be positive and this has to be negative, which is already understood in the initial stage of this particular problem. Now we can conclude here, the friction moment for the case of a fixed beam where there is a level difference between A and B joint. So in this case we have already found out a value of ma and mb whose magnitude is equal to 6 ei delta by L square, in which this ma joint is having a moment ma which is hogging, and at point B it is sagging. So this is how we have to understand the sinking effect of a particular fixed beam. Going beyond, there is one more point at which we can find out the deflection. Now here, if you see the geometry of this, and C is exactly the center, if this is delta, this has to be obviously delta by 2 being at the center. So for that case, we can find out delta C also. Delta C has to be delta at B end divided by 2. It will be exactly half of the deflection which is occurring at point B. So this is how we have to analyze and understand whenever there will be a sinking of the support, or there will be the level difference between the supports. In that particular case, friction moments are going to be one and the same by the values, not by the sign conventions, because at here you can see at A it is creating what, hogging moment, whereas here it is forming a sagging. It is trying to lift up, it is trying to pull down, so by forming a sag here, whereas when it will try to lift up, you can see here it will have a hogging effect. So this is negative and this is positive. Now once we understand the sign convention of all these friction moments due to the sinking effect, you can understand rest of the things. Only we have to make it sure which is going to be hogging and which is going to be sagging. Furthermore, we are going to solve many problems on this particular type of the sinking of the support. So this is what we have for today. In the next class, we shall be taking certain numericals on sinking of the support and the fixed beam imposed with the couples. So this is what we have. I hope you are watching each and every lecture earlier and understanding the problem. That will give you a better understanding. So stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much.